Extra Mile. A fun and informative companion piece to go with this week's episode, which it may be best to listen to first. Oh, so there we go, folks. Oh, that started off nice and easy, and then it got really difficult. Oh my lord. Right. I'm going to take your little hat off. Oh, welcome to Extra Mile, the unscripted, unedited bit, as mentioned. I keep forgetting to do that. And as before, we used to have it on the back end of the Murder Mile episode, but I wanted to put the cliffhangers in there, which I think helps the story. That's all really good. And I hate, as I mentioned before, I hate when episodes are more than an hour long. So I decided, so I can... What's that going past? Oh, loads of boats going past today. Got a workman's boat gunning it past. Utter annoying bellend. Anyway, what was I saying? I can't remember. Oh yeah, just so I can have. I like episodes to be half an hour ish, but sometimes they tend to be 35, 40, and quite often I cut them down to make sure that they're not too long for you. So, and also Extra Mile can be too long as well. So you can enjoy it a little bit better. I've split them. It's something I wanted to do years ago, but I never did because I thought people might go, oh, why have you split them? Oh, I don't like it. But now I've decided to do it. So there we go. Tough shit. It's done. So don't forget, if you haven't listened to the episode prior to this, go and listen to that episode first. Otherwise, none of this is going to make sense. So I'm going to take your little hat off. There we go. Your hat is off. Oh, look at you. Your hair's all a mess. You should go and sort it out. It's a disaster. I'm going to open the window. The day is it's cloudy and crappy outside. I'm just going to make me pop my water on so I can have a tea. Tea o'clock. Open the side door. Oh, that's nice. And then while that's brewing, we'll do some stuff. So don't forget, we do some quiz questions shortly. We have a little chat. We do some extra stuff. And that's Extra Mile. So what else? Excitement of my life. Core. Life doesn't get any better. I've purchased an earwax remover with a camera attached. Core. Because you know you're not meant to use those earbuds because they shove the earwax in. And this one I found online the other day, and apparently it's meant to be very good. It's a little earwax scoop. It like scoops out the earwax. If you're having breakfast or dinner, I apologise. It scoops out the earwax, but you use a camera attached to your phone, and you can kind of see what you're doing. I'm looking forward to that. That's the highlight of my life. Core, Michael. That's the highlight of your life. Life is so boring, isn't it? And that's how I make my life better. Also, what else is going on? Over summer, I need to take a little bit of a break to put out so I can do some more research for the rest of the episodes in this season. So I'm planning to do something across a month. So I'm not going to say much more about it, but it's good fun. I'm looking forward to it. So that'll be good. That is coming up. That'll probably be July, August-ish. Probably more August, I think. But that's coming up. Anyway, let's do the quiz questions. Don't forget, I haven't edited this episode yet. So, yeah. I don't think I need to say more. But, yeah, so I might balls up some of these questions. But don't worry about it. It's just a bit of fun. Some people stress about it and they message me and go, oh, you messed up the question. Oh, I was enjoying the quiz. It's just a quiz. Just enjoy it. Question number 1. What country was Benjamin Katzman born in? Nice, simple question. There you go. Right at the start of the show. Question number 2. Don't forget there's no prizes for this either. This is just for your own entertainment. Question number 2. What job did the Katzmans do? Surely they should have been cat sellers. Question number 3. What was Bessie's maiden name? Question number 4. What part of London were they married in? Question number 5. What was the name of the housemaid who was on holiday at the time of the murder? Question number 6. What agency hired Dora for Bessie? Question number 7. How did Dora try to kill herself? The first attempt. Question number 8. What was Bessie's brother's name? Question number 9. What was Bessie's sister's name? And question number 10, Vera, Dora's younger sister, died of what? So let me just go and grab my water, then I can have a tea, then we can do some more chat bullshit, chat bullshit, chat bullshit. There we go. Oh, it was payday the other day. That was a delight. Finally got paid. Oh, I love getting paid. Nothing better than getting paid, is there? Although I do like the week before you get paid, because you tend to eke out everything you've got and you don't spend your money on shit. You just go, like I've spent the week just living off rice, fish and vegetables because I had loads of that stored up. And it was nice. Suddenly I was going into the bank going, oh, I haven't spent money. Do you know there's no surprises anymore, which is good. And then you have the start of the month and you go, all your money comes in. And then instantly it all goes out again. And you just think, shit. Highlight of my month is at the start of payday, I deliberately work out how much money I can put into my ISA. That's what I do. Start of every payday and the start of the month as well. Sometimes I go, right, how much can I put away this month? That's why I'm a good saver. Well done, Michael. That's why I don't have credit cards. That's why I don't have loans. That's why I don't have a mortgage. That's why I don't have debts. I don't have any of that. I just have savings. Well done, Michael. Good boy. That's the way you should do it. What's going on in the world? Coot update. I'm not going to do you a coot update, only because I'm going to give you a evil swan update. Little horrible, nasty. Yeah, they look beautiful. Oh look, when they're together, their necks look like hearts. Oh, they mate forever. Oh, it's so romantic. No, they're not. They're evil little bastards. And the other day, just outside, nothing you can do about it because it's nature, and B, you don't know the background to it, so you can't really dive in and kind of work out this. But a swan decided to attack some mallards, and a couple of little ducklings were killed. So we had a little murder on the waterway. They literally will attack anything, and it's amazing because swans are huge, and the cygnets are huge as well, and they're attacking like little mallard ducks, which are not even the size of the cygnets, and then they're attacking the little ducklings who are tiny. Like you could fit probably 8 of them in your hand. But yeah, the big swan. Oh, isn't it lovely? Yeah, came out and attacked them, and 2 ended up dead. So they were floating on the waterway. Lovely. Nice and cheerful. Anyway, something more cheerful, cake of the week. So this week's cake of the week, even though I'm on a diet because I am a fat bastard, and we've got a holiday coming up soon in the sun, and what I don't want is the sun to be blotted out by my giant rotund frame. Also, it's an eat as much as you can kind of, well, not eat as much as you can, but a kind of a all-inclusive holiday. So I want to make sure that I can go on holiday and not look all wibbly wobbly, but also I can eat whatever I like. So I'm doing a cake of the week, but I haven't had this cake of the week. So I haven't had it in ages, but I do love them. So the cake of the week, it's not really a cake, it's more of a confectionery, but rum truffles. They can be, over in Ealing, West Ealing, there's a good baker's, and they do a rum truffle that is the size of a fist. So it technically is a cake if you have it that big. Oh dear, it's like 800 bazillion calories. So if you don't know, a rum truffle is double cream, butter, milk and dark chocolate, dark rum, cocoa powder. And basically it's all squished together into one nice big ball, and then it's covered in chocolate sprinkles, so you can kind of pick it up. But it's very gooey. Oh my God, they're good. Oh dear. I remember them as a kid, growing up in Birmingham. Always used to go into the bull ring with my granddad, and when he would go off and buy, this was his treat, he would buy a big bag of aniseed balls, because he'd have aniseed balls because he was trying not to smoke, and a bag of sprats. And sprats are the really, really, really tiny fish. They're half the width of probably your little finger and half the length as well, and there's hundreds of them. And you buy those, and then he would grill them and then put them on toast. That was his thing. And while he would do that, I would go off and buy rum balls. Not soft, gooey ones, kind of harder ones, but God, they were good. They got me really addicted. Anyway, this next bit, I might add something new here, something a little bit of fun. I might try it each week and see if it works. It won't always work, but let's try it. I think when you listen to Murder Mile, you always think it flows nicely. Oh, it's nice. He must sit down for half an hour and just read, and it comes out fluently, and he doesn't make any mistakes. Unfortunately, it isn't like that. It's constant mistakes, which is why it requires a lot of editing. Like, it takes about two and a bit days to edit each episode. So I thought I'd put in a cock-ups bit. So there we go. Here's some cock-ups I made during this episode.
Bessie made the decision to shut up her hat. Bessie made a decision. Bessie...
Come on, Michael. Right, start at the beginning. Yeah, gunning it, not a care in the world, like a massive cunt. Yeah, not a care in the world, have you? Utter turd. Utter turd.
In those final...
Come on, mouth.
In those final months.
Why do you have to be this direction today, you utter wanker? You weren't there earlier on, you little shit. Oh, where'd I get to?
When the mother asked her to leave.
What the fuck is that banging? Something is banging. That's annoying. Stop effing banging, you turd. Right, let's get this before the next boat comes through.
At around 1 p.m.
Say the fucking words.
At around 1 p.m.
Look, it's there, you tit.
At around 1 p.m. Ben and Bessie. That it almost went unnoticed.
Say unnoticed, you tit.
That it almost went unnoticed. With Dora unwilling to apologize.
Fuck off, parakeet. You little turd.
In the
Fucking hell, why have you forgotten how to speak? Shut up, water.
With Ben.
Oh, will you shut up? Move away from the boat. Stop having a conversation in front of the boat, you tit. Right.
I will not go until you get another nurse.
A nurse? What the flip is a nurse?
I will not go until you get another nurse. All was quiet. Which were any...
Oh, come on. Say the words. Come on, lips.
Assessed at Holloway Prison. She showed
signs of petit mal seizures. Say she showed signs.
Assessed at Holloway Prison. She showed signs of petit mal seizures. Ben and Bessie welcomed into the world a son called Henry Aubrey Katzman.
Wait for this bellend to go. Oh, a grey wide beam. Well, there's a shock. Pointless grey wide beam. Go on, piss off. Go on, hurry up, you ridiculously long boat. Go on, piss off. Yeah, go on. Bugger off and don't come back. Have water. Yeah, another one. Well, let's just redo this whole end sentence. Yeah, probably none of that made any sense out of context. It's basically a guy sitting alone in his boat by himself with no one else around, and I sometimes have a little rant to myself. You know, you're trying to record stuff, and the world goes by, but kind of boats are going past, and parakeets are really annoying because they've got that really horrible shrill that goes on, and people run past the boat and they chat in front of the boat. It can be really annoying. So I thought I'd throw some of those in there anyway. As we know, I try to make the recording as seamless as possible, but sometimes people interrupt my bloody recording, and it can be absolutely frustrating. Oh, what was that? Hang on. Someone's knocking on my window. Hello? Who is it?
All right, Mike. Just Mr. Coot here.
Oh, great. It's Gobby McShithead, the loudmouth bird of the waterways.
Ah, well, you know me. I love waiting till you're recording, then I open my gob and a horrible noise erupts. I don't really have anything to say. I just like winding you up and cooking up your edit. My plan, apart from shagging, obviously, is if people like me enough, maybe I might get a little spin-off podcast series, yeah? I'm thinking about calling it Cooting About, The Gobby Little Bastard in the Black, or The Bald as a Coot podcast, where I uncover all sort of murders on the waterway. Like the time that Brian got run over by one of those cyclist twats. And, well, that's it so far.
Well, that sounds shit.
Well, it couldn't be worse than yours, right? Anyway, it's spring, it's breeding season, and although I love to shag, you know me, I love to dip my little black wick into Mrs. Coot's ink pot and then bang her like a bloody snare drum. But I just can't be bothered with raising the kids. I mean, the noise. And that's me saying that. So, I wondered if I could, borrow some condoms off you. I know they'll fit, as every night I hear Eva complaining about your lack in the love department. Or as she calls it, the tiny todger, the microscopic Mickey lump, the pants-based acorn, the raisin without reason, or the little pink dust particle. I know, it's very cruel of her, but from what I've seen, it's accurate. Hey! So, you gonna give me some?
Fine, I'll find you some condoms. So, here's an ad break while I hunt them out. Right, where's me microscope and me tweezers? So, folks, we're back. Right, let's dive into some extra stuff to do with the case that we were just reading about. So, culprit. Her full name, Dora Martha Sparling Sadler, born 21st of May 1886 in Queen's Park, West London. Father was George, mother was Mary Jane. Many sisters, as mentioned, quite a few sisters, quite a few brothers, but importantly, her sister Vera, who died at age 17. That's one of the quiz questions as well, and it's kind of believed that she really loved her sisters, but that one, when she was born, when Vera was born, Dora was 21 years old, so she was kind of at the age where she was kind of thinking about having children, getting married and all that, and this was her youngest, very youngest. But as we know, she never got married. She didn't seem to have a boyfriend. There was no evidence that she'd ever been pregnant as well. So I really do think that's a big key thing about something within her back history that's going on. A sense that she, unlike some people who want to be kind of nurses and nannies and things like that because they love children, I think with her case, she really did love children, but there was a sense of jealousy in there. So her personality, everyone said that she was often of a cheerful disposition, which is why no one really saw her as a threat. She was very loving of children. She's not one of those people. She at no point did she ever shake the children or slap the children or anything kind of like that. She really loved children. She knew how to deal with them. She knew how to keep them happy. That's why she was hired. People really liked her, but her behaviour was quite erratic. She could be quarrelsome. She had an uneven temper. She wasn't a drinker. She didn't do drugs, any of that. But a lot of uncertainty about her. She had a compulsory education, as did everyone else, from the ages of 5 to 10. Then she left to go into domestic service. That was kind of common for that era. So it was still in the Victorian era when she went out into domestic service, and she decided to become a nursemaid. She was described as a passionately loving person, hence I've used the title, passionately fond of Sonia. I keep going to call her Susan for some reason, I don't know why, but that was also another phrase that someone referred to in there. She'd get into very violent tempers quite a lot. It would happen out of no reason. She'd dive out through the room, slam the door behind her, all kinds of swear words, and then she'd come back a week later as if nothing had happened. So whether she'd forgotten her mood swings, we kind of don't know, or whether she just didn't really think about it, didn't really care that much. She left school. She was described as not very bright. Some people said that she had a kink, which means, a slight uncertainty about her. Something was always wrong, but they really couldn't pin down what was wrong with her. Obviously, as mentioned in there was quite a few suicide attempts. We only know of 3 in there, but it's likely that there was quite a few more. She was a nursemaid from the age of 16 to Asher and Jose Salomon of 10 Hilltop Road, West Hampstead. Interestingly, they were a Jewish couple as well, which is why I've mentioned that in here, because of her anti-Semitism. It seems to come out of nowhere. 1912 to 1915 for Dr. and Mrs. Rawlins. This is of the era when women weren't allowed to have degrees, but also women couldn't become doctors, but they could train as doctors. So even though they're both doctors, he's Dr. Rawlins, but she's also Dr. Rawlins, but she can't have the title Dr. Rawlins. She has to be Mrs. Rawlins, even though she's a doctor. Go figure. So she was with them for roughly around 3 years as well in Southampton, and they said as well that she was really good, but they had to discharge her on the grounds of insanity, and it was their opinion that she was insane. I'm going to put in a caveat here that they came forward after the murder. There's no evidence of them saying that they dismissed her on the grounds of insanity at the time. There's nothing in the police files at all. So, I had a good search. The police files on this were quite thorough, but there's nothing there. So I think this is one of those moments where after the fact people go, oh yeah, I knew that person. Oh, I knew they were insane. Oh, I knew there would be a murderer. People always love to do that. They love to show how smart and clever they are. And even though they're doctors, let's just take this not on face value. It might not be true. I mentioned Edith Jones in there in 1916. So this is about 6 or 7 years before the murder. Dora and Edith were working together in Selsey, which is near Southampton, and she said, Dora was very fond of children. She really liked them, and they became good friends at that point. So that is Edith Jones, who would later become a nurse probationer at the London Hospital in Whitechapel. That's where the letter was sent to. They remained good friends at that point. So luckily, we've kind of got a lot of information from Edith, who seems to be quite a reliable source. Even though she's her friend, her statements are quite open. They're detailed, but they're not biased towards one side or another. What else do we get? It's kind of interesting that with Bessie, when Bessie goes searching for a nursemaid, now she's already done it before. She's already gone searching for a housemaid, and the housemaid is the person who comes in and does the cleaning and does the cooking and does the ironing, and that's it. Not saying that's it, but they don't do the baby stuff. So they seem to have been able to track down good people for that. But when it came to needing a nursemaid, which is the person who only deals with the children, she said, I did not receive a very good reference for her. So whether that was references from her prior... So it must have been references from prior employers, of which she's got quite a few, of which some may not have given a good reference, but some may not have given a reference at all. But, so, why did she kind of accept her? Was it can't have been... there's so many people doing childcare and stuff like that. You kind of think to yourself, well, she can't have been the only child, the only nursemaid that was available. She's got family who she can go to, as mentioned in the episode. I'm not going to mention their names because that's one of the quiz questions. So why didn't she make the most of her family first, and until she could find the right one? It seems weird, doesn't it? But maybe this again is kind of an after statement. Maybe she liked her. She spoke to her. She seemed like a really good person. And she thought to herself, well, she hasn't got a very good reference, but that could just be those people. They may not have liked her, but I seem to like her. Both Bessie and Benjamin said that she was great, really loyal, dedicated to their children. So, yeah, it seemed to go well. The police did look into a suggestion that possibly the nurse, so Dora, had been having an affair with Benjamin, but there's nothing into that. It was just someone had cast an aspersion about it, but it looks entirely unlikely. The police couldn't find anything there, and there didn't seem to be anything to warrant that. The anti-Semitism pretty much comes out of nowhere. This is why I made sure that in there was the couples who Dora had been employed by previously. Most of them were Jewish, and it's kind of interesting that through here a sense of anti-Semitism seems to come out. It's very much an era of kind of, if you look at it, it's kind of, there's a rise in fascism. So obviously, people reading the less reliable papers are kind of getting a kind of anti-Semitism creeping in, and they're taking that as a normal thing. But there doesn't seem to be anti-Semitism in her back history. This isn't something that seems to be going on, but it seems to be part of her daily life, in kind of the same way that the children's parents are kind of putting up with this anti-Semitism as part of their life as well, which is kind of why her brother and her sister kind of heard of the anti-Semitism that Dora was injecting, but kind of ignoring it at the same time, saying, we didn't think that much of it. They're probably quite used to it. Dora would say at the time, because the nursemaid was away, so she'd gone away to take a week's holiday in and around the time of the murder, that she was working too hard at that point. So she actually said the reason why all of this happened was because I didn't get to have a holiday for about 5 months, which seems a bit, didn't seem quite right. The death of Dora's sister, that seemed to play a big part in her life. That happened in September 1922. Edith said that it may have affected her mind. She was always erratic and often threatened to leave Mrs. K. I didn't upset the story by putting this, but because Mr. and Mrs. Katzman are Jewish, in and around this time, obviously a lot of Jewish people anglicise their names in order to blend in. So Mr. and Mrs. Katzman are also Mr. and Mrs. K, but that's not a suspicious thing. It's just their way of blending in. So sometimes in here, if I make reference to Mr. and Mrs. K, that's Mr. and Mrs. Katzman. Vera, as mentioned, was 17 years old when she collapsed in the street from an illness, of which is a quiz question. May, her middle sister, said this seemed to have affected Dora terribly, as when Dora went home and saw her late sister, apparently she got quite upset about this, not just because her sister was dead, but she said when Vera died, she was very sorry and knew that she ought to have left her alone. There was kind of things in their past where, there was a lot of regret going on about the way she'd acted towards her. But apparently she really did love her. The letter sent to Edith Jones. So that, you can clearly see that there's premeditation there, because there was a letter found in the nursery. Yep, that's premeditation there. But this is very conscious premeditation. So before she was even verbally dismissed that evening, Dora, so the post would have been around 5-6 o'clock. That would have been the last post, which, amazing in those days, you could send a letter in the evening and it would arrive somewhere the next day. Remember those days, folks? Remember that? doesn't happen anymore. Anyway, so yeah, prior to this moment, Dora had written a letter to Edith Jones. We read part of it in this episode, but I'll read it in full. It says, "My dear Edith, I don't know how to write this, but when you get it, I shall be no more. I am taking my darling Sonia with me. I know she won't be happy here without me. You know her mother. If you had seen the way she carried on with Sonia, you will understand. I'm not tired of life, but I can't leave Sonia, and this is the only way I can have her. We had another row today. I hate Mrs. K. You know I gave her the notice a long time ago, that's notice to leave, but she never tried to get another nurse. Don't blame Mr. K. He has done his best to smooth things out. He will give you my club money, which is 5 shillings a week from last December. Don't be upset. You knew how I have stood the life of hell for Sonia's sake for months. I'm not writing to my mother. I cannot. Goodbye, dear. Try to forgive me. I don't want to take Jean, but I cannot put her outside. Nanny." And then at the bottom of that, there was an afterthought which she wrote, "I do not have anything to do with Mrs. K. I do not care what she says about me," which I think is kind of key there. Just a couple of extra details as well. Getting into the room. So obviously the husband, Mr. Katzman, was knocking on the door. He couldn't get in. The door was locked. So he went outside to knock, because it's a basement, but they've got a basement window. So he went outside to knock on the basement window. Couldn't see his way in. Well, Herbert Price, who was a decorator employed by Barons Court Builders for the past fortnight, was carrying out repairs at the mansion block. And that morning he'd actually arrived at about 8:30, admitted by Mrs. Katzman, because he was going to do some work there. When the husband saw him, he was like, can you give me a hand? Get your tools, because I want to open this window. And he went outside, saw that the windows were shut and he couldn't open them. But he realised that if he got a putty knife, and he was able to put it through the window, and that way he was able to lift the latch. He lifted the window. He said, "I tore the blind and rushed in." Benjamin didn't go in. Benjamin waited for him to open the door, but obviously when he got in there, he saw that 3 bodies were in the room. Autopsy was held at Fulham Mortuary on Munster Road. The bodies had a pink discoloration, which is the symptom of coal gas poisoning. Obviously, we mentioned this in one of the other episodes we've covered about suicide and coal gas poisoning, that in the kind of the 1930s they started adding sulphur to coal gas, because in those days a lot of people started killing themselves by coal gas poisoning, so they started adding sulphur. So therefore, the more you inhaled, the more it made you sick, and therefore, it meant that a lot of people actually survived. The girls' bodies, there was no evidence of any violence at all, no evidence of smothering. Their arms had cherry red spots on them. Both girls were healthy. Sonia's nose was slightly deformed, although that was believed because she was lying on her side. Obviously, as rigor mortis had settled in, the blood had started to kind of coagulate around the bottom side nearest the bed. Benjamin, the father, identified the bodies of the children at the mortuary. Sonia was 3'6" tall. Again, no marks of violence. All of her organs were healthy. There was a red discoloration owing to the gas poisoning, but no suffocation, no marks of force. Both had died of carbon monoxide poisoning. And Jean was 2'6" as well, so tiny little tots. Dora was held at Fulham Infirmary from the 12th of November until the 10th of December. During that time, WPC Frances White, who was a female police officer, she was one of the people who was on guard, keeping 24-hour watch on her throughout. Also, Sister Edwards was there, keeping a full observation of her as well. 24th of November, Nora said to WPC Frances White, "I have something to say to you. I know you will think I'm wicked." At that point, WPC White cautioned her. And in the presence of Sister Edwards, in Sister Edwards' office, she repeated, I'm afraid you will think me very wicked. It all started through me not having a holiday. I have been 5 years with Mrs. K without a holiday. Mrs. K was always so nasty to me. The children did not want me to go. I said, very well, I will go. You shall go too. I thought that was the best way to settle matters, and when I went to bed, I turned on the gas, and I remember doing it quite well. So, that was the confession that she actually made to her only real confession to the police. She would do a full written one afterwards as well, but I think that was kind of key there. So, yeah. Let me do the quiz questions, and then I can drink my coffee. And then I can start editing. Oh, and hopefully treat myself to something nice tonight. That'll be lovely. Oh. So, question number 1, folks. What country was Benjamin Katzman born in? Russia. Boo. Boo. I'm booing Russia, not Benjamin Katzman. Question number 2. What job did the Katzmans do? They were milliners, so they were hat makers. I think Bessie was the hat maker, but Benjamin was more of a retailer. Question number 3. What was Bessie's maiden name? It was Specterman. Question number 4. What part of London were they married in? Whitechapel. Sorry, I burped. Question number 5. What was the name of their housemaid who was on holiday at the time of the murder? Oh, hiccup now. Minnie? Oh, damn yawning. Question number 6. What agency hired Dora for Bessie? It was called Hunt's Registry Office. That was based over in Marylebone. Question number 7. How did Dora first try to kill herself? She swallowed a bottle of spirits of salts, which is a caustic cleaner made from hydrochloric acid. Question number 8. What was Bessie's brother's name? Ralph. Question number 9. What was Bessie's sister's name? Golda. And question number 10. Vera, Dora's youngest sister, died of what? It was an abscess of the brain. So there you go, folks. That's that. Hope you enjoyed that. That was Extra Mile. That was Extra Mile and the episode itself. So I hope you enjoyed that. Going to be back next week. It's going to be another one-parter. So I hope you all will join me for that. If you've enjoyed Murder Mile, please do tell your friends. If you haven't already, please do give it a review. It really helps, especially now that all the corporates are in the chart and all the independent podcasts are literally disappearing and dying. So we kind of need your help as much as possible. So yeah, give us a review. That's it. All it takes is like a second. It really does help. It gets us up the charts. Especially when we're competing with the big corporates who have the money and the teams behind them. I'm just a guy in my bedroom. That's it. So I hope you're enjoying Murder Mile. It's very much appreciated your support. Have a good one, folks. Stay safe. Be good. Lots of love.